The Pittsburgh Steelers head into tonight's Thursday night football primetime matchup against the New England Patriots with Mitchell Trubisky at the helm, and that should be nothing new to the Pittsburgh Steelers and the fan base, considering the immense amount of injuries Kenny Pickett has withstood throughout his career, his very short career. Welcome back to Mike Drop Sports, everybody. I'm Jason. Let's talk about your starting quarterback, your supposed franchise quarterback, and what he has had to go through so far in his young NFL career. A guy that's been around 25 games played so far. Not even really just barely over a full NFL season, and Kenny Pickett has already been knocked out 7 times. And this is starting to be a little bit concerning if you ask me. Kenny Pickett has dealt with everything from concussions to rib bruises to high ankle grade 3 sprains that require surgery. He's missed a lot of time in his short career, a lot of time. And Mitchell Trubisky has had to come in and relieve him so many times that it's become almost second nature for the Steelers to anticipate an injury to Kenny Pickett. I'm not sure if Kenny Pickett is that guy, if he's durable enough to be in the NFL. So far, his injury history says that he's not, and that he has had to undergo some injuries that are significant in nature. A guy that's already dealt with 2 concussions so far in his young career. A guy that's been beat up really badly on the right side of his body. And I know it's like his predominant side, so you're going to see more injuries to that area occur. But when you're already dealing with so many significant injuries, it's hard to be able to focus on the basics, on the things that make a quarterback good. It's hard to fight off injuries all the time and still have to get out there and game plan and pre-plan. And I'm not questioning Kenny Pickett's toughness, guys. I'm not. A guy that's already been beat up so much and is still standing. A guy that's still trying to be the starting franchise quarterback for this franchise. A guy that's really proved his toughness at times and got up at times when he probably shouldn't have. We find that to be a valiant thing on Kenny Pickett's part, and nobody's arguing that. But if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and you're starting to plan for your future and you're starting to think ahead a little bit, you're starting to wonder, is Kenny Pickett really able to withstand a full NFL season? And if you're the Steelers and it comes time to paying Kenny Pickett, and you're going to have to put in a lot of money, but you're going to have to also have a high-quality backup. Why? Because he's out a great deal. And if you're the Steelers, you can't afford to not have a high-quality backup. Is that going to be too much money to have wrapped up into that room all the time? One position requiring so much focus because your quarterback is not able to stay healthy at times. That could be a problem. Could Kenny Pickett get over this hump? Could this just be his stumbling block? Perhaps, guys. It could be. But we have to call it like we see it right now. And right now, Kenny Pickett has dealt with major injuries. He's dealt with big-time things. The significance of the injuries may not all be high magnitude. It might not be a tear of your ACL or, requiring great deals of surgery. That may not be the case, but the significance is in the number of injuries. That's the significant part. The number of times Mitchell Trubisky has had to come in and relieve Kenny Pickett. And does that lower the standard? Does that lower the play of the offense? Is Kenny Pickett able to focus on the game plan? Or is that why Kenny Pickett has happy feet all the time inside that pocket? Is that why he's not looking through his progressions and he's missing wide open receivers down the middle of the field, down the sidelines? The play that he was just injured on in Pittsburgh against the Arizona Cardinals. A play in which he had Connor Hayward wide open for a touchdown. All he had to do was stop and flick the ball out. You can see it on tape. I don't have to really argue it. It's right there. Now, was it a designed run? Perhaps it might have been. But it seemed to me the formation that they were in, it was more of a run-pass option type thing for Kenny Pickett. And instead of trusting his arm and throwing the football, he decided that he was going to pull it down, knowing that he was already dealing with a little bit of an ankle injury to start with. And that's the type of decision making that's going to get him in trouble. He has to be able to be good inside the pocket. He has to be good in order to push the football down the field and avoid those injuries. And if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's a real calculated risk here, a risk-reward analysis that you have to perform. Is Kenny Pickett performing at a level that you can deal with those injuries? My answer at this point is no, guys. It's really a simple answer. The performance, the numbers, it just hasn't been there. Yes, he's been able to get some wins. Fourth quarter Kenny sometimes is spectacular. But you can't count on him to be there week in and week out. We haven't, at least so far. I want to see Kenny Pickett succeed probably more than anybody. A guy that went to Pitt, a guy that seems to be pretty humble, a guy that is a fighter, a guy that's really trying to do the job of a franchise quarterback. I want to see him and support him, but it's becoming harder and harder. The injury history, the inconsistency, the anemic offense that he leads. Yes, there's variables inside that. The coaches do suck at times. The play calling has been bad at times. The offensive line has let him down a great deal. The receivers have dropped balls. The receivers have let him down. You had bad plays from guys like Deontay Johnson to where they quit on the team. Different plays like that. There's so many variables involved, we get it. But the big one is Kenny Pickett and himself and his history and the way that he plays football. He's 6'3", about 220 pounds. I don't doubt his size. He seems like a pretty decent-sized dude. Yeah, he looks a little bit smaller when he's out there, but you're playing amongst giants. Those guys are all huge. They're big. But Kenny is a big guy also. He's not a small guy, and I think he can take the beating. But when is it going to be too much for Kenny to withstand those beatings? When is it going to be too much of a problem? When are those injuries just going to totally catch up with him and he misses almost a full season? We may not see Kenny Pickett for the remainder of this season, especially if one of the other quarterbacks, a Mitchell Trubisky, a Mason Rudolph, somebody gets hot and leads this team on a run into the playoffs. You may never see him again in 2023. Now, 2024, that could be a different story. The Steelers could go ahead and give Kenny the nod to go for one more go to see what they have in the young quarterback. He's 25 years old already. You feel like he should already be through some of these growing pains. However, he's not. And that's the real definitive answer right now, is Kenny Pickett isn't ready to be that leader, that franchise guy inside that building. He's just not right now. Maybe 2024 holds a different fortune for Kenny. Maybe Kenny comes back from injury and really guides this football team on a magical run. Maybe that's how it plays out, guys. But right now we have to look at the facts, look at what is in front of us, and look at exactly what has transpired throughout Kenny Pickett's career. And so far, it's not good enough. And some may think this may be the end of the road for Kenny Pickett in his time as the Pittsburgh Steelers starting quarterback. All right, guys, thanks for stopping through. Until the next one, peace.